So instead of talking about awakening, let's talk about wakefulness and the difference between the two. Spoiler alert, there is no difference between the two, and the but is kind of important. Awakening sets up the idea of a future destination based on what we've read, what we've heard, what we believe, what we think, reports of awakening, the idea, the very essence that awakening is this or that, or has this quality or that quality. And while all of that may be true in some way, it pits the present moment against the future moment, the future idea. And in my experience, because of the nature of the discomfort of the human experience, and even a perceived notion that the future awakened moment, awakening itself, is going to somehow completely resolve that, or hopefully resolve that, then I can't be there yet. I can't be there yet because I'm still feeling this, that, and the other. I'm still having a human experience. In fact, I'm still suffering. And so therefore, this moment is entirely dissatisfactory, and I'm seeking. And I seek and I seek and I seek, and this is not it and that's not it. I get a glimpse and then I fall back, and this is not it and that's not it, because I'm still burdened, I've still got problems, I still find discomfort arising in me, etc., etc. And there is an element of drive. Where that comes from, I'm not going to talk about, but there is an element of drive, not egoic drive, but a sort of soul's drive, an energy drive that with the very notion of awakening, or the very lure of the possibility of freedom from suffering, that drive is a catalyst, is almost essential. It is essential on the path. Otherwise, we are languishing in whatever, really. Or, it happens. It happens with some people who think that they've found the Holy Grail or the spiritual nugget, and they sort of bask in that. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. But there is a driver in awakening, or the journey towards this mythical awakening. But we have to be very careful about the fact that the mind hijacks or interprets the idea of awakening and says, and this is not it. And it's up there. It's up there somewhere. Destination consciousness, I call it. Whereas, if we embrace the idea, the possibility of wakefulness in every experience, then we start to look at a whole different way of being that pulls us again and again and again from any future orientation into present moment orientation. And so the wakefulness would become a living inquiry. Where am I now? How am I meeting life now? How am I meeting my experience? How am I meeting my suffering? How am I meeting the world? How am I meeting the past? How am I meeting my parents, my lover, work, me, whatever, all of it? How am I meeting that? Am I meeting that with an overlay, with the veil of self, with the veil of my pain, with the veil of my grievances, with the veil of my conditioning? Or am I meeting it with a deeper wakefulness? And that wakefulness itself is not a place. That's the difference. It's an ongoing intimate relationship. It's not a place. It's not a fixed place where you say, oh, now I've arrived and that's it. It pulls you into the present moment experience where life becomes a living inquiry. The living inquiry. Wakefulness is the living inquiry. That's what's very powerful about changing the way that we frame it, the way that we frame and see the very journey itself. So you get out of mind's imagination of what awakening is, and you come straight, fall back right into the present moment and say, how am I showing up to this? Who is this I that is showing up to this? Who is this Kavi? How am I meeting my own imagination of myself? Who am I? Why do I seem to have an endless stream of thoughts and hot or fearful or anxious or depressing emotions rising up in me? What is that? And is there a way of meeting it with a deeper wakefulness? This conscious meditation in all aspects of life. So we stop separating life up into spiritual practice and non-spiritual practice. It all becomes spiritual practice that has no spiritual. It's just what is. It's just, you can't separate. At the bottom line is there is no spirituality. The bottom line is there's no normal life and spiritual life. But for the sake of, in a sort of purpose or something to get us into the blood and guts, the raw bones of the human experience, we call it spirituality, to get out of the matrix-like way of being, which is secular functionality, sort of practical-based way of being, into a more alive, spiritual, i.e. of the spirit, way of meeting life, way of being with life, way of moving through life. So to move through life as wakefulness, it's not even with wakefulness. As wakefulness means to move through life consciously. We are hypnotized into a dreamlike version of ourselves. Bottom line, we're hypnotized because everybody else is hypnotized into a dreamlike version of ourselves. And so we go about the world as an actor, imagining that we're living life as the person that we think we are. But in actual fact, most of it is Pavlovian, and most of it is conditioned, and most of it is knee-jerk responses, much of it is reactive. It's rather like a dream that seems very real. But when you fall out of it, or when you wake up from it, or when you start seeing through the veil of it, that points us back into a certain wakefulness. You start looking around. When you start to see things, you start to see your own life, or the life of the whole thing, with a different set of eyes. This is the time to practice wakefulness and to be wakefulness. Don't jump into thinking you now know what that means, because that's just, the way of developing another spiritual ego. And God spare us from spiritual egos. There are enough egos in the other world. For it has to bring you into a deeper humility, into a certain grace. You don't know. But to live from wakefulness, as wakefulness, is to meet the world from almost the I don't know, from the unknown. And that's, if there is any destination, it's now. There is only this. There is only this destination now, which is not a destination. It takes it out of the realm of mind and imagination. And that's the beautiful thing about it, because it means we can move in the world as wakefulness and then see where we fall into the dream of ourselves and the dream of the world. And then we can look at that, and how do we meet that from wakefulness? Wakefulness is fresh. Awakening, becomes stale because it engages us in future orientation. Whereas wakefulness is a fresh meeting with what is happening here and now. And that's the only real way. So that's what I wanted to say. Bless you.